Big story here, and it's from my world. You know, that sports media world. And it's a lot to unwrap here, so let's just take it line by line and get through this. All right, Dave Portnoy worries firing popular host Ben Mintz over the use of the N-word, the word that I don't even use as a black man, may be a death blow for Barstool Sports as parent company Penn Entertainment stock price falls after a high volume of backlash due to the axing. Oh, y'all catching this? That was a crazy headline. Took me both places. Okay, so someone uses the N-word from Barstool Sports. All right, that's already controversial enough, especially when you know who Ben Mintz is, because then you realize, oh, yeah, in this culture of hypocrisy with the N-word, we all know only black people are supposed to use the N-word, supposedly, even though we know a lot of Latinos use it and others, so we'll get to all that later. But Mintz, best known as this lovable sports enthusiast with that Southern charm. There's some people that love him and some people who don't, but he's a very skilled poker player, and he has made some impressive wins in that world. He had that show, Wake Up Mintzy, on Monday mornings, and on Monday, we saw him rapping to Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? First of the month. And then the N-word came out, you know. And it's funny because when this happens, and I told you guys the story when I was at the Jay-Z concert, and a little kid walked up to me, a little white kid, 12 years old, wanted the autograph, wanted a picture. All right, we about to do it. Then Tom Ford comes on, little white dude right there by me, big black dude. Clap for what? And he let the N-word go. Now, I'm looking like, are you serious? And obviously, I'm not going to do anything to the little 12-year-old because, one, 80,000 other people were screaming it. And as I looked around, let me just say, I was in the minority in that venue. So I was like, that's what the rappers have allowed. That's what the culture has allowed. That's where we are. Okay, let's keep going through this. Because there's the video of this, which obviously, once you got video, ask Ray Rice, everything changes. Not just the fact that you said it, not just the fact that someone overheard it. Oh, we all can consume it. So let's check out the video of Mintzy using the N-word.
Get some yayo, double up, nigga. What you need. Get some.
Boom. So then he tweets out, this morning I made an unforgivable mistake slipping on air while reading a song lyric. I meant no harm and have never felt worse about anything. I apologize for my actions. I am truly sorry and ashamed of myself. Okay, that apology is not accepted by me because like some things are just avoidable, right? And it's interesting how everyone has slipped up before, but let's just say your slip-ups also suggest your comfort level at times, right? There's certain things that I just would never do in front of my mom, no matter what. There were certain things I would never do in front of my dad, no matter what. And they all have different codes, right? Certain things I would never do at work, right? Certain things I would never do around my grandma. You guys get the point. And there's certain things that even when you're rapping a rap song, that you know where the traps are, right? You know where the landmines are in rap. If you're white, if you're not black, whoever, the N-word probably is going to be in it. And just look out for it, especially if you're rapping a song that you've heard before, right? Like know where the traps are. So the whole slipping up stuff, I just don't buy that. I know people do that for the public apology. Hey, I did my part. And he may be contrite, but how contrite are you when you step in it knowing that you took that step in it? I'm not on that side with him. Okay, so then 2 days later, on May 3rd, Portnoy tweeted a video. He called it an emergency press conference. And Ben Mintz has left the building announcing the firing. Okay, this video is like 5.5 minutes, and I thought I was gonna be able to cut it up and edit it and say, oh, okay, let's just get these parts in these excerpts. Nah, y'all gotta hear this whole video. Check it out.
Okay, emergency press conference time. Bad news, this sucks. So today we had to fire Ben Mintz, the artist formerly known as Ben Mintz. It stems from his Wake Up with Mintzy. Ironically, finally got to do him live, and he was rapping lyrics to a rap song, reading the words off his phone. And he rapped a racial slur. He turned white as a ghost. You could tell instantly, he's like, oh my God, what did I do? It's like a Ron Burgundy moment. He read it. He knew he fucked up. He's been super apologetic, like in shambles, basically. And I think anybody who watched the clip was like, there's no way he meant to do that. He's just not the brightest bulb to ever come down the pipe. And he just screwed up, and he knew he screwed up. And there was no hatred behind it, no nothing. Still awful, but not in my wildest dreams that I think I'd be sitting here being like, we had to fire Ben Mintz. Penn felt differently. And I'm stunned by it. And I've been fighting tooth and nail, as has Erica, as has Dan, to keep Ben and say this is the wrong decision. But Penn operates in a world that we don't operate in it. They are highly regulated by the government. They're issued licenses for gambling that just as easily as they're issued, they can be pulled back. And for anybody who has followed any of the states and Penn trying to get legalized and things like that, one thing's clear. A lot of people hate my guts. They fucking hate me. They hate Barstool. And they look for any lever, any excuse, anything to cause problems for us and pull the licenses. Penn is convinced, and they've been very clear, Penn, since they took over. It's a zero tolerance policy moving forward. You can't do stuff like this. And really, we haven't had an incident like this since they've taken over. And they believe there's a legitimate chance lots of the states would pull their licenses because of this. Penn's a billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company. Without their licenses, they are a $0 company. Investors, families, employees, thousands of people, they feel it's their job to protect all of this. And the only answer is to fire Ben Mintz. I still disagree with it. And maybe I'm naive. I'm like, there is just no way anybody can look at that clip and think the punishment fits the crime. It makes my skin crawl thinking a guy would lose their job on an innocent mistake. Yes, horrible, but clearly no intent. Clearly he's in shambles about it, instantly in shambles. It just makes my skin, it's everything I've stood against for 20 years. And I told Penn, and I told Jay, I go, you risk alienating, you're fighting to save, the Barstool brand to use. There may be nothing left to protect if you go through this. But again, Penn's a multi-billion-dollar company. We're a small part of it. And they think the whole thing was at risk. Bottom line is this. I hate the decision. I don't agree with the decision. But it's not my decision to make. And when we sold Barstool to Penn, we knew what came with it. We knew the guard lines. We knew you couldn't do what Ben Mintz did. We knew it was a regulated industry. And we knew if somebody went beyond the guardrails after they purchased us, these decisions on how to deal with it would be Penn decisions. And it's not just Jay. And by the way, I love Jay. I trust Jay. I think Jay and I think about the world very similarly. A lot of the same views on the world. So I don't think he's doing it as spite or because he has some perverted or any. I think he's doing what he has to do, and the board is doing what they have to do to protect Penn Entertainment. I still fucking disagree with it, but that's their decisions to make. It's their world, the regulators dealing with the states, not my world. My world's gambling. I told him, I go, if this was me and state wanted to pull the license because of this, I'd put it on blast 100-fold. And I'd be like, this is what we're dealing with? And our crowd would rally, we'd become stronger. He said, you know what that'll do? They'll just pull the license everywhere, potentially. I hate the decision. I hate. Tried to convince it to be otherwise as much as I could. In the end, they know the risks and the downsides, and they still felt they had to make this decision, which is a bad decision for everybody involved, but from Penn's perspective, better than risking the entire livelihood of the company on a fuck-up from Ben Mintz. It sucks. It makes no sense to me, but the world in a lot of respects and how crazy certain factions are. And if you don't think Emily Steele is already frothing at the mouth to write about this and send it to the regulators and be like, what are you going to do about it? You're not paying attention. So it is what it is. And hopefully I never have to make a press conference like this ever again. And it really, really, really sucks. That's all I got.
Okay, so that video, Portnoy said Mintz was highly apologetic. We caught it. He said Penn's a multi-billion-dollar company and he doesn't have the final say in this. He said he hated the decision. He fought hard to keep Mintzy, et cetera, et cetera. He talked about how he sold his company February 2023 for a combined total of $551 million. So Penn has full control of Barstool. All right, but that ain't where it's going to end. That's where we start, right? Because then the community jumps in and everybody's like, yo, all of the stoolies are not happy, right? They call him Portnoy a sellout. Okay, all right, the white dudes are sellouts now. Listen to this. They call him a sellout for selling the company. That's right. And the stock price of Penn Entertainment plunged. All right, went from $30 a share to $26 a share. So, yo, things are not looking pretty. So now all of a sudden it's starting to come to Dave in different ways because he thought that, okay, I'm going to address this. Mintzy's going to address this and this probably blow over, right? And then even though you don't have full say and ownership of it anymore, you still got heavy sway and pull. So he tried to go to Penn Entertainment behind the scenes, try to work it out. Not working out. Now, it's not working out behind the scenes. Pressure's on to get rid of Mintzy, right? And then on top of that, all of his support is starting to be split. It's starting to be splintered between those who are like, yeah, we get it, it's big business, and those who are like, dog, you a sellout for selling your business and forgetting your audience, forgetting why you are Barstool Sports. So all of that starting to get to Dave. And Dave had to go out there with this animated post of a video on Twitter in response. Check that out.
So I get every Tom, Dick, and Harry since this Mintzy thing be like, Prez, you're a sellout, you're a sellout. Hey, Prez, you sold out. Well, as the kids say, no doy. No fucking doy I sold out. You're just figuring that out? I started a company and I fucking sold it the fuck out. Made hundreds of millions, made millions for everybody grinded in Milton. Yeah, we sold the fuck out, and that's what you do when you're an entrepreneur. You start this little company, you dream one day, you sell the fuck out. So no doy. Still means this decision sucks. I hate it. Makes me want to puke. But guess what? When I sold out, a couple words, a couple things is very clear. You say these things, those decisions are no longer mine. I can't protect you. You know why? Because I sold out. No fucking doy.
All right. So the message is to everybody calling me a sellout. What did I tell y'all the 2 rules of social media are? The first rule is to never respond to a negative comment. Tell you. Every single time. And I don't. I have before, and that's why I have it as a rule now. I don't. If you say something negative about me, bro, I read it, but I ain't going to give it more energy, okay? I'll take it to heart. I'll take your criticism, all of that. But you're not going to get me in a tug of war and the rope is poison. I am not going there. I don't need the negativity. And the second one is never clarify yourself. Never. Because that's just grabbing the invisible rope that actually has poison on it. And you thought that was a positive. Oh, no, let me just go out there and make sure everyone knows where I'm really coming from. And then now, that rope comes to life. And now you're grabbing the negativity again. And you're trapped, getting hung by that negativity. The things that stood out from that video that was kind of like alarming is the whole no doy stuff. Like no doy. Like now he's trying to give in to it and saying, what, y'all didn't know that this is what a company does and this is what we do? We cave into the capitalism, but people are not questioning capitalism, and it's kind of weak for him to fall back on that in this video in this moment. We ain't questioning capitalism, we're questioning your character. Don't try and hide from that. So that was interesting. It's what you do when you're an entrepreneur. Not all entrepreneurs, not all. All right, so then someone tweets out a video of Dave doing the Mintzy, which was crazy enough because obviously Dave has a different level of significance in Barstool owner than Ben Mintzy. But at the same time, check this video out. video out of him. This is like a smoking gun video of him doing the same damn thing.
To all my niggas that been living it up, what you do. To all my niggas that been living it up, what you.
Okay, so he was singing song lyrics, the N-word in it. Didn't seem like he looked too uncomfortable to me. Didn't seem like he had any issues with it. Okay, here's my takeaway, because I had to get all the beats out, especially when it's sensitive topics that we know a lot of people are going to be paying attention to. I like to always get that foundation out there first. All right, the first thing is he's forgotten his audience, and he has not forgotten them in terms of still thinking about his audience, because that's why Dave's like, yo, Barstool actually firing Mintzy is going to be looked out as a sellout move, which is going to make our audience lash out. But he forgot about his audience when he sold the company, when he gave up all his rights, and he also knew that he was going to be part of a regulated industry, right? So it's okay to get your money, boo-boo, but the thing is, when you get your money, know what you purchased and know what they just bought, right? And when they bought it, when they bought your authenticity, when they bought your strength, they bought your power, you can't cry about it now. You can't play both sides of that situation. Every contract is more than just dollars, more than just words on a piece of paper. You know the spirit of it as well. You know those executives. And even if their heart's in the right place, you know the actions they have to take. He also let people kind of know how the sausage is made in the terms of when you talk about having a company that is acquired, what does it really look like? And people don't want to know how the sausage is made. People don't really want to see that Barstool Sports, authentic, right? Middle finger to the establishment, power to the people, has now turned into power to the conglomerates, right? Power to mass media. Because that's what it is. What are there? 6 major entities of media in this world, and the rest are just subsidiaries of it? And then if you know what that means in real terms, in layman's terms, that means there are very few people controlling the messaging that's getting to the masses. Very few. And their sensibilities tend to be the same, right? Very liberal or very empathetic, even if they're crossed with something that is different, right? So they can say, we care about everybody. That's what they say, even though it's capitalism really driving that force, and they really are trying to take advantage of situations to get money. That's what capitalism is. Somebody has to win in these conversations. Someone has to win in these endeavors. All right, so I thought it was kind of weak to fall back on the capitalism, and that's what entrepreneurs do. Not all, because I know a lot of people that have sold companies, that have exited, and some of them stay with the company and work in the company. Some of them stay on the board. Some of them stay in power. You can play it any way. It's just going to come at a cost, an opportunity cost and an acquisition cost. So not a fan of that. They built their brand off of defiance and authenticity. And then they sold their brand just saying, hey, we understand you're going to regulate all of that. And me in that position, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying own that position. I would have sold my company. I don't know what he had in projections and what he wanted to do ultimately, but for $551 million, yeah, you can have Never Shut Up, right? And if you take Never Shut Up, guess what you're not buying? Marcellus, Wiley. You're buying Never Shut Up. You bought Barstool Sports, but you're not going to buy my authenticity if I'm Dave. But that's a tough situation to play both sides. So it's interesting that we're in a world where he's like, look, I disagree with this decision. I don't think Mintzy did the worst thing, or he's remorseful, he did bad, but at the same time, he's contrite. Let's move on from it. We're in a different world, and Dave knows it. We're in a world where Kyrie Irving doesn't use a racial slur, just reposts an image from a movie on Amazon, and it's called anti-Semitic, and loses his Nike deal plus, right? So by those standards, Dave knows that he's fighting an uphill battle that sooner or later he's going to lose. And it's going to be more of a loss than just Mintzy. It's going to be more losses if he continues this fight. You know what would have protected him in this moment? It's an interesting play. Diversity on this executive level for Barstool or for Penn Entertainment the diversity would have kind of protected them. But let's just be real about Barstool. There was always that conversation that that company was racial, right? Racy. Like, people always question, were they really leaning into independence and freedom, or was there something else in terms of their attributes? That was always a conversation, right? But now you can't have that and have this. The perception cannot now turn to reality because we got a video of one of the guys using the N-word, and you're going to keep him employed? Hold on. He uses the N-word, and he still works for Barstool that has this rumored reputation of being racy. Yeah, Penn Entertainment saw through that one and said, look, we can't have perception become reality. We can't have rumor become real, right? So in this situation, obviously the sacrificial lamb is going to be Mintzy. And using that slur, it should be, let's just be real. But the stir of this is not the fact that he used the N-word and he was fired. The stir is how they tried to clamor around him, or at least Dave did, tried to keep him employed through the slip-up. Through the slip-up. I don't know if it's a slip-up. Now, he could have used the N-word because he's like, yo, black people use it. And this is where Mintzy gets caught. He's like, yo, I'm literally quoting somebody who uses that word. And good luck buying that one and good luck selling that one if you're out there in this world. So the only other thing about this issue that I thought was interesting was, this is why, in part, I don't use the N-word. It's too impossible. Not even too difficult, too impossible to explain the usage of the word in media in this world right now, right? It's a hypocritical word in the sense of black people can use it, right? The insulted, because the word was initially in America used to insult black people. The insulted can use it, but not the one who's the insulter, right? All right, so we're saying that punks, actual punks, can use the word punk, right? Like fools are the only ones who should say fools, right? Because it's the one who, the insultee is the only one who has the power to use that word. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the culture. And what's worse is you see non-black people using it. You see the word used everywhere. You see Mintzy using it. And the comfort level continues to grow outside of the protected borders of those who should use the word. I am having all this conversation so we can have this conversation and discuss it. Because it seems like with the hypocrisy, the contradiction, the pandering, the fact that, oh, I sold my company, and what you sold your audience out to as well, is now all coming to a head. There's no right answers in this situation, but whatever your answer is, stick to it, stick to your guns, and own that response.